The most important hormone for longevity. Insulin. The most important hormone for 100-year-old health is insulin. According to a recent survey, the prevalence of diabetes among people over 65 years old is a whopping 25.1%. In other words, 1 in 4 people develop diabetes. Hello? This is your Healthy Life channel. We always produce videos for your health management with information from Korean healthcare specialists and researchers in related fields. Are there any people who haven't subscribed yet? Please subscribe and like right now. And please share it with your loved ones so that we can all live healthy lives. For reference, the average life expectancy of Koreans is currently 90 years for women and 86 years for men as of 2024, which is one of the longest average life expectancies in the world. It has increased by more than 5 years compared to 10 years ago, and the average life expectancy of Koreans is increasing every year. I hope you all always watch our Healthy Life channel and maintain a healthy life. Diabetes is a disease in which the function of our pancreas deteriorates, causing insulin secretion to not proceed properly or insulin function to decrease significantly. Once it develops, it causes permanent disability, so you have to take insulin injections for the rest of your life, and if the symptoms are severe, it can cause fatal complications such as kidney disease, vision loss, or leg amputation due to foot ulcers. Diabetes is also the starting point for various diseases including cancer and dementia. Pancreatic cancer, which is one of the most feared cancers, is also closely related to insulin function. This is because high insulin levels can increase the incidence of pancreatic cancer. In other words, if you do not develop diabetes, you have a chance of living a long life and enjoying a disease-free old age. Unfortunately, the incidence of diabetes is increasing, which is worrisome. The reason why insulin is important is that insulin is an essential hormone in our bodies. It is a hormone that basically feeds cells. Insulin is a hormone secreted by the pancreas that sends a signal to accept glucose, which is our body's energy source. Insulin breaks down ingested carbohydrates into glucose and delivers energy to cells. Insulin also regulates our body's blood sugar. If the blood sugar in our blood vessels is too high or too low, it becomes dangerous, so insulin automatically regulates blood sugar and maintains it at an appropriate level. Therefore, insulin can be said to be a hormone that determines longevity. If there is a problem with insulin secretion, blood sugar control is not possible, causing various complications and, above all, cells become starved, accelerating aging. Insulin is not secreted continuously until death, like a water drop. As you age and the pancreatic function declines, the amount of insulin secreted decreases, or it cannot function properly. In particular, if you maintain lifestyle and eating habits that abuse insulin for a long time, you can develop diabetes more quickly and are more likely to suffer from terrible diseases in the pancreas. Koreans have innately low insulin function. Insulin comes from the pancreas, especially from the beta cells, but the beta cells of Asians are only half the size of those of Westerners. Currently, Koreans' insulin is surrounded by numerous enemies. This is because stress, obesity, carbohydrate addiction, lack of exercise, and excessive active oxygen exhaust insulin and cause diabetes. To solve this, you must have lifestyle and eating habits that save and love insulin early. There are signs that you can tell that your insulin is being exhausted. Hyperinsulinemia is a condition in which insulin levels in the blood exceed the appropriate level. Hyperinsulinemia refers to a condition in which a lot of insulin is secreted in the body, that is, a condition in which a lot of insulin must circulate in the body to function properly. It can be said that the insulin efficiency is greatly reduced and the quality of insulin is poor, so more insulin must be secreted to handle blood sugar. This is a symptom that can be easily identified with a simple blood test. Hyperinsulinemia is also another term for insulin resistance. Insulin resistance refers to a condition in which the function of insulin to lower blood sugar is reduced, so glucose cannot be delivered to cells properly, resulting in chronic energy shortage. When insulin resistance increases, our brain worries about the lack of blood sugar in cells, so the pancreas produces a lot of insulin, but even so, the poor quality insulin cannot properly deliver glucose to cells, causing chronic energy shortage. If this condition continues, the pancreas gradually loses its function, and eventually, it cannot secrete insulin, leading to diabetes. Therefore, insulin resistance can be said to be a stem disease that causes various adult diseases such as hypertension, diabetes, hyperlipidemia, and fatty liver. According to research, people with high growth hormone levels and normal insulin function live longer. On the other hand, if there is a problem with insulin function, it is known to directly affect lifespan by interfering with the activity of sirtuin, a gene related to longevity in our body. Please check the health of your insulin hormone through self-diagnosis to see if you have insulin function abnormality. Self-diagnosis method for insulin function abnormality. 1. I can't concentrate if I don't eat foods such as rice, bread, noodles, and snacks. 2. I habitually look for sweet foods or eat sweet foods even when I'm full. 3. I often feel unbearable hunger and quickly look for food to eat. 4. I get sleepy right after eating and then feel better again repeatedly. 5. My heart races after eating, or I feel weak and more tired. 6. I don't lose weight easily even when I'm dieting, and I gain weight quickly. 7. Recently, the fat in the abdomen and sides has increased. 8. The skin on the neck, chest, breasts, groin, and inner arms has become loose. 9. In the case of women, the menstrual cycle has become irregular, and in the case of men, hair loss begins earlier than in their peers. 10. One of the blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol levels is out of the normal range. If you suspect insulin resistance with 3 or more of these tests, please visit a nearby hospital and get a blood test. To maintain insulin health, you must have the following lifestyle habits. First, the barometer of insulin resistance is waist circumference. The more visceral fat you accumulate, the higher the possibility of problems with insulin function. Therefore, if you have abdominal obesity, you should start a diet immediately. The most effective way to prevent and resolve insulin resistance is to reduce your waist circumference. Men should keep their waist circumference under 33 inches, and women should keep it under 31 inches. Second, the biggest enemy of insulin is addiction. This is because cigarettes and alcohol are the things that most easily cause insulin to malfunction. Cigarettes and alcohol cause inflammation in the pancreas, which reduces the function of insulin-secreting cells. Please quit smoking immediately and reduce or stop drinking alcohol significantly. Third, insulin resistance should be corrected with a diet that increases insulin sensitivity. The glycemic index of foods on the table should be lowered overall. If you eat foods with a high glycemic index, insulin will be secreted excessively, which will inevitably reduce insulin function. Even if you eat the same calories, you should eat foods with a low glycemic index. In other words, you should change your diet to a low glycemic index diet. Low glycemic index foods are foods that are less refined and closer to nature. For example, you should mix brown rice or glutinous rice instead of white rice. Limit sugar intake to 10 g for adults and 5 g for children per day, and increase water intake to 2 liters per day. You should make an effort to change snacks from instant foods to vegetables or fruits such as carrots, broccoli, and cucumbers. Fourth, the easiest way to increase insulin function is also exercise. During aerobic exercise, the efficiency and sensitivity of insulin increase. It is recommended to walk 8,000 steps every day, do strength training at least 3 times a week, and do strength training for more than 30 minutes at a time. The intensity of exercise is appropriate when you sweat a little or feel out of breath. Walk for about an hour a day, but try to practice brisk walking or light jogging for about 15 minutes. It is recommended to exercise 30 minutes after a meal when blood sugar levels rise. Exercising 30 minutes after a meal can have a similar effect to diabetes medication. The most important body part to protect insulin is the muscle. In particular, the thigh muscle is the largest and most important core muscle in our body. In order to increase thigh muscle, aerobic exercise alone is not enough, and you should regularly do exercises such as lifting heavy equipment, squats, and climbing stairs. Fifth, if stress is severe, insulin quality decreases. Stress is also a formidable enemy of insulin. Stress directly reduces insulin function. This is because if stress continues, the secretion of cortisol, an adrenal cortex hormone, increases, interfering with the secretion and function of insulin. We need to find the various causes of stress, such as interpersonal relationships, work, and personality, and fix them one by one. Let's eat Sabankianchal. Backwards, Sabankianchal is a diet that I have strongly recommended for a long time. Sabankianchal is an abbreviation for eating 3 meals slowly and thoroughly. First, I need to explain about the 3 meals. These days, many people skip breakfast for their health. However, according to recent research, skipping breakfast can actually be harmful to your health. Compared to Americans, Koreans are nearly twice as likely to skip breakfast. However, you must eat breakfast to stay healthy. This is because a recent large-scale clinical study found that people who skip breakfast have an increased risk of developing cancer. A research team led by Dr. Duke Appia of the Texas Department of Public Health conducted a study of 7,007 adults aged 40 or older in the United States and found that skipping breakfast increases the risk of cancer-related mortality. The study also found that skipping breakfast is a major cause of cardiovascular disease. The association of skipping breakfast with cancer-related and all-cause mortality in a national cohort of United States adults, published in the journal Cancer Causes Control. Another study found that men who skipped breakfast had a 27% higher risk of death from heart attack or coronary heart disease, Harvard School of Public Health. The biggest reason why skipping breakfast is dangerous is that it is very difficult to control appetite if you don't eat breakfast. According to a research team at Imperial College London, UK, when people who skipped breakfast were shown high-calorie food, their brains responded more actively than when they were shown low-calorie food, and when lunch was provided, they consumed about 50 more than on days when they ate breakfast. The relatively increased appetite from skipping breakfast can cause them to overeat at lunch or dinner. In other words, if you skip breakfast, it becomes that much more difficult to diet or maintain weight. Rather than relying on exercise, dieting should be done by controlling the amount of food, maintaining nutritional balance, preventing energy depletion, and not putting too much strain on the body. A diet focused on exercise is not very effective for most people. This is because the number of calories that can be reduced with 2 to 3 hours of intense exercise is very low. In order to control weight, it is important to eat regularly, without skipping 3 meals a day. If you skip meals or eat irregularly, your body will change to accumulate fat. Your basal metabolic rate will gradually decrease, and your body will become unhealthy and less efficient and functional. If you need to lose weight now, the rule is to reduce your daily calorie intake by about a quarter or a third, considering your usual activity level and weight. In order to lose weight, you need to check the recommended daily calorie intake for yourself and divide it into 3 meals. Dinner should be the least, and you should consume high calories in the order of breakfast and lunch. It is important to eat moderately for breakfast, hearty lunch, and lightly for dinner. If you can't control your appetite because the food is so delicious, try combining the reverse diet and mindful eating. Mindful eating is a diet that combines mindfulness, a type of meditation, and eating. Mindful eating is a way to focus on the object and action of food by spending more time giving precious meaning to food. It is a way to seriously think about and choose what and how to eat, and then enjoy the meal leisurely. It is not a way to simply fill your stomach or evaluate food as a form of entertainment, but a way to truly feel the joy of eating by thinking about what nutrients this food will give you. Mindful eating is an important diet method that provides a wide range of benefits, such as dieting, mental health, and stress reduction. According to a research team led by Professor Carolyn Dunn of North Carolina State University in the United States, when 80 ordinary people practiced mindful eating for 15 weeks, the average weight loss was 1.9 kilograms. The research team analyzed that using the 5 senses to savor the taste and smell of food satisfies the appetite and prevents overeating. Professor Dunn explains, if you clearly recognize the taste and smell of food and the purpose of eating food, you can enjoy the pleasure of eating. In particular, practicing mindful eating allows you to eat slowly. Researchers at Harvard Medical School say that the mindful eating method prevents obesity by allowing you to control your food intake because it gives the brain enough time, 20 minutes, to feel full. Instead of eating the food in front of you without thinking about it and only pursuing the taste and feeling full, listen to your body's voice and savor the food slowly and eat while slowly noticing your hunger disappearing. This will prevent you from eating more unnecessarily. Was today's content helpful? Don't forget to subscribe and like, and be sure to click the notification button right now. I will come back next time with more useful content with helpful information from Korean health management experts. Thank you for watching.